Alright, it's Richie here with Starting 5 Football. These are the 3:30 midday games for week 9 of the college football season. There's a lot of games in this one, so this will be a longer one. Bear with me. First, the Florida-Georgia game, both coming up bye weeks. Georgia, they beat Kentucky 30-13. Stetson Bennett, 250 passing, 3 touchdowns. Brock Bowers, 5 catches, 101 and 2 touchdowns. Florida, they lost to LSU 49-42. Even though they had 4 turnovers, they had a chance to win that game. They still put up 42 points and 488 yards of offense. Anthony Richardson was solid, 167 passing, 3 touchdowns, 2 interceptions, plus 37 rushing yards and a touchdown. Emory Jones, 161 passing, a touchdown, 2 picks. Justin Shorter, 6 catches, 113 and 2 touchdown receptions. Like I said, they had 4 turnovers in that game. I really think Florida has a good chance against Georgia. Georgia's defense is out of this world crazy, but the Florida offense, like I said, they're really, really good. If they can just not turn it over, which is a big if because Emory Jones sucks and will throw like 4 interceptions himself. Georgia's offense they're kind of mediocre. They have a solid running game. Stetson Bennett is good, but it's not an out of this world offense. The Gator defense is pretty solid. I think it's kind of an even matchup here. I kind of want to go with Florida to get the upset. I'll give Georgia's favored by 14. I don't think it'll be that big. I do think Georgia probably will win only because I do not trust Emory Jones at quarterback to not turn it over. I'll give Georgia a slight edge, but they're on a huge upset alert. Georgia, you're on big upset alert. Texas Tech and Oklahoma. Texas Tech, they lost to Kansas State 25-24. They were up 24-10 and let Kansas State come back. Not really much to say about Texas Tech. They did run for 170 as a team. Eric Monroe had 11 tackles. Oklahoma survived Kansas 35-23. Caleb Williams 178, 2 touchdowns, plus 70 rushing yards and a touchdown. They ran for 220 as a team. I think if OU plays Texas Tech the way they played Kansas, Texas Tech will win. I'll put Oklahoma on upset alert, but I think Oklahoma learned from last week and will be able to win. Colorado and Oregon. Colorado got killed by Cal 26-3. Brendan Lewis 69 passing and interception. He only had 104 total yards of offense. Mekhi Blackman 10 tackles. Nate Landman 10 tackles. Oregon had a big win against UCLA 34-31. Anthony Brown 296. He did throw 2 interceptions but ran for 85 yards and a touchdown. Defensively, that's what won it for them in the end. At 4 sacks and 3 turnovers in the game. Oregon turned over 3 times. That shouldn't hurt them too much against Colorado, but they're going to clean that up in the future. It should be okay this game, though. I think Oregon should be able to handle Colorado pretty easily. All right, Florida International. Florida International lost to Western Kentucky 34-19. Max Bortenschlager 15 of 32, 192 and a touchdown. Randall State Felix 5 catches, 104 and a touchdown. Richard Dames had 10 tackles. Marshall coming off a bye. They beat North Texas 49-21. Grant Wells 323. 2 touchdown passes plus 3 rushing touchdowns. Rasheen Ali ran for 109 and 2 rushing touchdowns. I think Marshall should win this game. FIU's been able to stay in most of the games. They have a decent offense. Could be high scoring, but I think Marshall would be too much in the end. All right, Louisiana Tech and Old Dominion. Louisiana Tech got jugged by the undefeated UTSA Roadrunners, 45-16. Austin Kendall, 281, 2 touchdowns and a pick. Smoke Harris, 7 catches, 108 and a touchdown, and 3 turnovers in that game. Old Dominion coming off a bye. They got beat by Western Kentucky, 43-20. Hayden Wolf, 327 passing, but 2 interceptions. Blake Watson ran for 104 and a touchdown. A lot of big stars defensively anyway. Allen Jennings, receiver, had 13 catches for 172. Zach Kuntz, 9 catches for 119 and 3 turnovers. Defensively now, Terry Jones had 11 tackles. Arterian Johnson had 10 tackles, a tackle for loss, and 2 passes defensed. And Ryan Henry had 10 tackles. This could be, I keep saying could be a high-scoring game. A lot of these games could be high-scoring. But I think Louisiana Tech, they've been pretty bad this year, but I think they'll actually bounce back, and they should beat Old Dominion. Southern Miss coming off a bye, they got killed by UAB 34-0. 3 quarterbacks combined to be 6 of 16 for 32 yards and a pick. They had 107 total yards in that game and 9 penalties. Luke Shorts was about all they had at all on their team that did anything with 14 tackles and a pass defense. Middle Tennessee State looked good against UConn, 44-13. Chase Cunningham, 297 passing, 4 touchdowns. Defensively forced 3 turnovers. I think that'll be more of the same. I think Middle Tennessee is about to go on a stretch here, maybe get bowl eligible. And I think it started with UConn and it'll continue with Southern Miss. So I'm going to Middle Tennessee State. Florida State and Clemson. Florida State, they beat UMass like they should have, 59-3. Jordan Travis, 123 passing plus 78 rushing yards and a touchdown. Chuba Purdy, 98 passing yards, 2 touchdowns. Deshaun Corbin, 127 rushing and a touchdown. They ran for 365, put up 586 yards of offense. Defensively, had 4 sacks, 3 turnovers, and an interception, return for a touchdown. Clemson lost to Pitt 27-17. DJ Uiagalelei has been terrible all year long. 12 of 25, 128, 2 picks, plus 50 rushing yards and a touchdown. James Skalski had 16 tackles. Nolan Turner added 10 tackles. I don't know who to pick in this one. FSU sucks this year. Clemson sucks this year. They both suck this year. I'm going to go the slight edge to Clemson only because Clemson's defense is really, really good. It's their offense that's terrible. Defense is good. FSU kind of sucks. Clemson wins. Boston College and Syracuse. Boston College lost to Louisville 28-14. Dennis Crosser 141, 1 touchdown, 2 picks. They had 3 turnovers and forced 4 turnovers themselves. Syracuse won a shootout 41-36 against Virginia Tech. Garrett Schrader has been on fire since he started a few weeks ago. 236 passing, 2 touchdowns, plus 174 rushing and 3 touchdowns. Sean Tucker ran for 112 and a touchdown. They had 314 rushing yards, 550 yards of offense. I think Syracuse wins this, may win this pretty big. All right, Minnesota, Northwestern, potentially a pretty decent game here. Minnesota beat Maryland 34-16. Tanner Morgan only passed for 125, but their running game, their first game, they had Mohamed Ibrahim, who ran for 163 and 3/4 against Ohio State, then got hurt for the season. Trayson Potts came in, ran for 100 yards in like 3 straight games. He's out for the season, and all they did was put their 3rd and 4th string running backs in. Kai Thomas ran for 139 and a touchdown. Marquise Irving ran for 105 and a touchdown. They ran for 326 yards as a team. Defensively, Jack Gibbons added 10 tackles and a tackle and a half for loss. Northwestern, they lost to Michigan 33-7. Ryan Helinski 14-29, 114 interception. Chris Bergen 16 tackles. Bryce Gallagher 14 tackles. Coco Azima 13 tackles. Brandon Joseph, one of the best corners in the nation, 12 tackles, a sack, a tackle for loss, and a pass defense there. Northwestern has a pretty stingy defense, but they haven't shown much on offense outside of maybe one game this year. Minnesota, their running game, Tanner Morgan's a veteran quarterback, and their running game, it doesn't matter. They put a running back in and he runs for 100 yards or maybe 2 of them. I think they continue that. I don't know if they'll have a 100-yard rusher against Northwestern, but I think they'll score enough to win. So Minnesota wins. All right, Purdue, Nebraska. Purdue coming off a 30-13 loss to Wisconsin. Aiden O'Connell, 200 passing yards, a touchdown. He threw 3 interceptions. Payne Durham, 9 catches, 112 and a touchdown. They had negative 13 rushing yards and 5 turnovers in that game. They did return a fumble for a touchdown, though. Jalen Alexander, 15 tackles and a tackle for loss. Nebraska coming off a bye. They lost to Minnesota 30-23. Adrian Martinez, 241 passing and a touchdown. Austin Allen, 5 catches, 121 and a touchdown. This could go back and forth. It'll be an interesting game. It's interesting to see Purdue can bounce back. If really they both can. I'm kind of leaning towards Nebraska here. I think Adrian Martinez might make a few plays on the ground with his feet to get a victory. All right, going to the Big 12 with TCU and Kansas State. Pretty even matchup here. TCU, though, lost 29-17 to West Virginia. They had a kick return for a touchdown to open the game. Max Duggan, 244, 1 touchdown, 2 picks, plus 27 rushing yards. Quentin Johnston, 5 catches, 113. Dean Winters had 12 tackles. They had 3 turnovers as a team. TCU did. Kansas State, they were down 24-10 at Texas Tech. Came back to win 25-24. Skylar Thompson, 296 and a touchdown. They had 12 penalties there. They had a safety defensively. This is going to go back and forth. I'm going to go, both quarterbacks can run it and pass decently. I think Max Duggan may be the better passer than Skylar Thompson slightly. So I'm going to go TCU there. KSU's favored by 3. That's about kind of what I figure. Might be 3 one way or the other, but I'm going to lean towards TCU. Our ULM and Appalachian State. This is quietly become a good game in the Sun Belt this year. ULM has not been very good, but they're on, I think, a 3-game winning streak to go 4-3. Appalachian State is App State. They had a big victory against Coastal Carolina in that upset. ULM, they beat a good South Alabama team 41-31. Chandler Rogers, 369 passing, 4 touchdown passes, plus 40 rushing yards. Will Derrick had 5 catches, 135 and a touchdown. They had 535 yards of offense. or 555 yards, my bad. Defensively, 4 sacks, 3 turnovers, and Zach Woodard chipped in with 13 tackles and a half tackle for loss. App State, like I said, that upset Coastal Carolina 30-27. Chase Bryce 347 passing, 2 touchdowns plus 34 rushing yards. Malik Williams 10 catches, 206 and a touchdown. Corey Sutton 6 catches, 113 and a touchdown. They had 575 yards of offense themselves. With DeMarco Jackson having 11 tackles and a half tackle for loss defensively. This is going to be a pretty high-scoring game. The over-under is 58. It may go higher than that. App State is favored by 27.5. I don't think they've been paying attention to what ULM's been doing, especially offensively. I still think Appalachian State will win this game, but this is going to be a fun one to watch. I'm going to put them on. They're not ranked or anything, but they're favored, so they're on upset alert. Like I said, I think App State wins, but that'll be really fun. Could be a really, really interesting game to watch. All right, Duke and Wake Forest. Duke coming off a bye. They got killed by Virginia 48-0. Gunnar Holmberg 134, 2 interceptions. They had 4 turnovers. Lumen Young was their standout with 10 tackles. Wake Forest won a freaking awesome game against Army 70-56. Sam Hartman 458 passing yards, 5 touchdown passes, plus 22 rushing yards and a touchdown on the ground. Ja'Cory Roberson, 8 catches, 157, 3 touchdowns. A.T. Perry, 6 catches, 146 and a touchdown. They had 638 yards of offense and a pick 6 defensively. Rondell Bothroyd, 10 tackles, 1 sack, 1.5 tackles for loss. Wake Forest is undefeated. They're 7-0, ranked 13th in the country. They're favored by 16.5. The over-under is 69.5, and they're giving Wake Forest a lot of that, and I think they may score 70 again. I don't think Duke has a prayer in this game. It's going to be over by halftime. Wake Forest big in that one. All right, going over to the CUSA, Charlotte, Western Kentucky. I expect this to be a high-scoring game. Charlotte, though, they did lose to Florida Atlantic 38-9. Chris Reynolds, 219, 1 touchdown, 2 picks. Victor Tucker, 6 catches, 105. They turned over 3 times. Western Kentucky's gotten their offense going. They beat FIU 34-19. Bailey Zappi, 368, 3 touchdowns. Jarrett Stearns, another 14 catches for 115 yards, 2 touchdowns. They had 530 yards of offense and 7 sacks. I'm going to say Western Kentucky will win that game. The over-under is 73.5. That's the kind of game I expect it to be. It'll be fun, lots of passing, lots of big yards, big, huge plays, but Western Kentucky will have the biggest one in the end to win. Our Wyoming and San Jose State. Wyoming got shocked by New Mexico 14-3. Both their quarterbacks, Levi Williams and Sean Chambers, 14-30, 147 and a pick. Easton Gibbs, 11 tackles. Chad Muma, 10 tackle and a tackle for loss. San Jose State were able to eke by UNLV 27-20. Nick Nash, 213 passing, plus 121 rushing and a touchdown. Derek D, 6 catches, 106. They ran for 216. They had 5 sacks defensively, with Carl Harmon coming in for 11 tackles, a sack, and 2 tackles for loss. This is going to be close, low-scoring game. San Jose State's picked by 3. I'm kind of leaning towards Wyoming. I think Wyoming will get the running game going a little bit. They're going to be mad about that loss. They shouldn't have lost to New Mexico. But these are pretty evenly matched teams. I'm going to go with Wyoming, though, to bounce back and get a victory. Arkansas State and USA, South Alabama. Pretty high-scoring game here. Arkansas State lost by 1 to Louisiana Lafayette. 28-27. Lane Hatcher, 300 passing yards, 3 touchdown passes. Ellery Alexander, 12 tackles, a pass defense. Taylor Doss, 11 tackles. South Alabama, they lost to ULM 41-31. Jake Bentley, 320 passing, 4 touchdowns, 2 interceptions. Jalen Tolbert, 10 catches, 155, 5 receiving and 2 touchdowns. A turnover 3 times. This is going to go back and forth. Arkansas State, I keep picking them. Their offense puts up points, but puts up yards, but just loses the games. South Alabama is a good team. This really could go either way. USA's favored by 9. That's kind of high. I think this might be a 3-point game either way. I'm actually going to lean and get Arkansas State to get their second victory of the season. All right, an unexpectedly big game in the CUSA. 6-1 UTEP against 4-3 Florida Atlantic. UTEP come off a bye. They beat Louisiana Tech 19-3. Gavin Hardison 283 and a pick. Jacob Cowan 9 catches, 166. They turn over 4 times. They can't do that against a really good offense in FAU. Defensively, 4 sacks, 3 turnovers, with Jadrian Taylor having 3.5 sacks by himself. FAU, they beat Charlotte 38-9. And Cozy Perry, 225, 3 touchdown passes. Defensively, 3 turnovers with Caleb Bryce, 10 tackles, a half sack, and 3.5 tackles for a loss. I think this will be a pretty close game. Florida Atlantic is actually favored by 12, and maybe closer than that, only because UTEP, they win with a decent running game. They have 2 good receivers, but decent running game and a really good defense. But their offense is still kind of mediocre. FAU, they have a pretty good offense and okay defense. I'm going to go with the FAU there to win. Just they might have a little too much offense. If they get a couple of turnovers and get a lead, UTEP could potentially keep up. They're a really good team. I'm kind of leaning towards Florida Atlantic to actually win the game there. All right, a small rivalry, Georgia State and Georgia Southern. Georgia State, they beat Texas State 28-16. Darren Granger, 200 passing yards, 2 touchdown passes, plus 91 rushing yards. Tucker Gregg ran for 115. They ran for 283 yards as a team. Georgia Southern, they're coming off a bye. They got killed by South Alabama 41-14. 2 quarterbacks combined, 7-25, 112, and an interception, but they had 233 total yards. Like I said, rivalry game here. Georgia State offenses look pretty good, but Georgia Southern, I think that triple option, they're coming off a bye, coming off a mad loss. I think that Georgia Southern will get their option game going and win that game there. Ole Miss and Auburn, big game in the SEC. Number 10 against number 18. Ole Miss beating LSU 31-17. Matt Corral 185, 1 touchdown plus 1 rushing. Stoop Carter ran for 117. They ran for 266 as a team. Defensively, had 3 turnovers, 5 sacks. Mark Robinson 12 tackles and a half tackle for loss. Chance Campbell 10 tackles, a sack, and a tackle for loss. Auburn coming off a bye. They beat a pretty good Arkansas team 38-23. Bo Nix 292 passing, 2 touchdowns, 1 interception, plus 42 rushing yards and a touchdown. Defensively, they had a fumble return for a touchdown in that game, with Zacoby McClain, one of the better linebackers in the SEC, having 15 tackles, a half tackle for loss, and 2 passes defense. This is going to be a fun game to watch. Should be going back and forth, a pretty high-scoring game, but Ole Miss knows how to win those high-scoring games. So I'm going to go Ole Miss with a victory there. All right. Kentucky, Mississippi State. Kentucky coming off a bye. They lost 30-13 to Georgia. Will Levis, 192 and 2 touchdown passing. They only had 51 rushing yards as a team. Mississippi State did what they wanted against Vanderbilt, 45-6. Rogers was 41 at 57, 384, 4 touchdowns, 2 interceptions, 522 total yards. Only held Vanderbilt to 155 defensively. Kentucky's got a pretty good defense. I'm still not sold on them. I still don't think they're the number 12 team in the country. I'm going to go Mississippi State here to get the, quote, upset. All right, Kansas and Oklahoma State. Kansas, they were up 10-0, up 17-7 against Oklahoma. Just could not hold on. They lost 35-23. Jason Bean, 246 passing, a touchdown, plus 59 rushing. Devin Neal ran for 100 yards and 2 touchdowns. Kwame Lassiter, 7 catches, 101. Kenny Logan had 14 tackles defensively. Oklahoma State was upset, quote-unquote, by Iowa State 24-21. Spencer Sanders, 225 passing, 3 touchdowns. Malcolm Rodriguez, 13 tackles, a half tackle for loss. I think Oklahoma State will bounce back here and get a win. They shouldn't look past Kansas, but I'm going to say Oklahoma State will beat Kansas. It'll be a pretty low-scoring game, I think. Oklahoma State's favored by 30.5. There's no way. Their offense sucks too much this year to win by 30.5. SMU and Houston, big game in the American Athletic Conference. SMU is 7-0, ranked number 19. Houston is 6-1. 2 really good offenses going against each other. Houston's favored by a point. That's stupid. SMU, they beat Tulane 55-26. Tanner Mordecai, 427 passing, 3 touchdowns, plus 34 rushing yards and a touchdown. Danny Gray, 8 catches, 148 at 612 yards of offense. Houston, it took them overtime to beat ECU after a 5-hour weather delay, 31-24. Clayton Tune, 169, 2 touchdowns. Defensively, 3 turnovers, 4 sacks, and had a kick return for a touchdown. Like I said, this will be high scoring. 62.5 over under. Houston's favored by 1. I think SMU wins. They may win actually kind of big. Houston has the potential on offense. They could keep up with them, but they kind of struggled in a couple of games this year. They're more inconsistent than SMU. SMU's just been going by everybody, and I think SMU wins a fun game there. Oregon State and California. Oregon State is a surprise team. They're 5-2 on the season. They beat Utah 42-34. Chance Owen 208. 2 touchdowns passing. BJ Baylor 152 and a touchdown rushing. They ran for 260 as a team. Avery Roberts, 16 tackles, 1 tackle for loss, and a pass defense. Cal, they got a nice win against Colorado, 26-3. Chase Garbers, 225 passing, 2 touchdowns, plus 96 rushing yards. Defensively, they held Colorado to 104 total yards and had 6 sacks in that game. I think this will be different. The Oregon State wins. Potentially close game, but Oregon State's only favored by 1.5. I think they'll win by more than that. They win by like 14 or so. But Oregon State having a really good season. I think this win will get them bowl eligible. All right, Arizona and USC. Arizona almost beat Washington. They lost 21-16. They're up 13-0 at halftime. Will Plummer, 68 passing yards and 2 interceptions. They ran for 218. That's how they were able to get a lead. They had 4 sacks defensively, but 10 penalties in that game. USC lost 31-16 in Notre Dame. Keaton Silva's 299 passing, but an interception. Keontae Ingram ran for 138 and a touchdown. Drake Lennon had 15 catches for 171. Even though USC's been struggling, Arizona, I mean, yeah, they've had a couple of close games, but Arizona is just not very good offensively. USC is favored by 21, and maybe slightly closer than that, but not much. I'm going to go USC winning. All right, Boise State, Colorado State. Boise State coming off a bye. Their last game was a loss, 24-17 to Air Force. Hank Bachmeier, 259, 1 touchdown and a pick. Riley Wimpy had 10 tackles. Colorado State lost a close game to Utah State, 26-24. They sucked at the end, trying to get the field goal up. I don't know what they were doing. They had like 10 seconds left, but instead of going up, they had 10 seconds left, got in a field goal range. Instead of going up to spike the ball, they just ran their field goal kicker on the field, and he missed a rush kick. Todd Centio, 282 passing, 1 touchdown, 1 pick. David Bailey ran for 159 and 2 touchdowns. Defensively, they had 8 sacks in that game. Daquan Jackson, 15 tackles, 1.5 tackles for loss. Cameron Carter, 14 tackles, 1 sack, 1 tackle for loss, and 1 pass defense. Colorado State is pretty decent this year. Both teams are 3-4. Colorado State is actually overperforming. Boise State is underperforming. Boise State is 2.5-point favorites. They got to go to Fort Collins. I keep trusting Boise State this year, but I mean, they're basically the winningest team in the last 21 years in college football. I got to believe they're going to turn around at some point this season. Maybe they needed that bye week. I'm going to give them a slight edge. It may be a close game like this, as Colorado State has a good defense, but I'm going to go with Boise State to win. So that's the last of the midday games. Check out my other, should be shorter video later for the primetime games. Peace.